Bon dia, Eva Cordia. Hi, everyone. Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat. And this is Fireside Chat 141. And as is customary, I will start with a prayer for peace. Gomara Siacon ar fud na crinne. Gomara Siacon in our jaili agus in our jirha. Gonari Lin ar chud garmacha, gamwich buikas jiv, jeha chuftaga is spirit chuftaga. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in our homes and in our countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian spirits and guardian deities, for peace. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. For those who make riches from violence and war, might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb, that our swords be beaten into plowshares, and no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the holy mountain, with thanks to John O'Donoghue. So you'll have guessed that this is a recording of this chat. Well, it's not a chat, it's me talking to you. Today is St. Patrick's Day, the 17th of March, and actually it is the equinox where night and day are of equal length. And this was the traditional time for planting potatoes and for pruning the roses in Ireland. And Wednesday, the 20th, is the spring equinox. And it's also World Storytelling Day. So I'm going to tell you a story. Iwad sa chanam shur sa cheersha. Long, long ago in ancient times in this land, there was a great and powerful leader called Cool. And he was well respected and well liked, not only for his skills with a sword, but also his wisdom, his leadership, and his honor. And he was the leader of that wonderful band of warriors called na Fianna, who were charged with the task of protecting the people of Ireland and maintaining the integrity of the land. And their code of honor was threefold: Glán or Gree, Neart or Ngeg, agus Bart the Rare or Marir. Purity of heart, strength of limb, and that our word, actions be true to our word. Now, Cool had two loves in his life: Thorba, his first wife, and his second wife, Myrna, she who appears in this story. Now, he loved her. She was very, very beautiful, but not only was she beautiful, she was very, very wise. And he respected her and listened to her wisdom and her advice. And sometimes he didn't wonder, was she not a goddess? So powerful and perceptive was her knowing. And they were madly in love, and their love was rewarded with the news that Myrna was now expecting a baby. And they were overjoyed, and she could feel a little warrior in her belly. But soon their joy was marred when Cool received a challenge, when his leadership of na Fianna was challenged by the Iluni. And at those times, he was honor bound to accept that challenge. Myrna, in her deepest knowing, was worried. She could foresee a poor outcome for this, and she shared her concerns with Cool, and he listened to her intently. But he also knew that he was honor bound to accept this challenge. And they agreed that should he not return from the battle, that she, Myrna, would have to keep her pregnancy and the subsequent birth of their son a secret from Cool's enemies, because they would like nothing more, nothing better than to slay one of his children. And it was with a heavy heart that Cool set off, kissing and holding Myrna one more time. He set off with his noble friend, the warrior Luca, set off in the chariot until they arrived at the battlefield at Cnocca, known today as Castle Knock. Well, it was a vicious battle. There was A, son of Morna, A. Rhynoch. He was a feisty young warrior, but Cúl hit him, removing one of his eyes, and from that day on he became known as Gull Mac Morna, the one-eyed one, son of Morna. Later he slew Cúl, taking away his head. But from that day on, there was an hereditary feud between the Iluni, the sons of Morna, and Cúl's family and the Fianna. When news reached Morna of the death of Cúl, she was devastated, and she gathered her friends closely around her, who promised to protect her and the knowledge of her pregnancy and the birth of her child from his enemies. Some months later, she gave birth to a beautiful little boy with golden curls and blue eyes, and she named him Demna. And she held him to her breast, feeding him, loving him, knowing that their time together was very, very short. And if her heartbreak was not deep at the death of Cúl, she thought her heart would snap in two at having to part from her little boy Demna. Heartbreak at her helplessness and her powerlessness of not being able to protect her own child from their enemies. For surely that is what a mother should be able to do. But such were the times then that this was not possible. She knew she'd have to give her baby away. And there's been many a woman in this country of Ireland who's had to give up her baby, but albeit for different reasons. But the heartbreak is now different. For who can love their child any more than its mother? So Morna called on two wise women, Bomel, the Bondri, the Druidess, and the Grey of Luchra, the Bonlech, the warrior. She called them and asked them to take care of her son, and they promised on their own lives that they would love Demna as their own. They would protect him from his enemies, and they would teach him all they knew about druidry and about warriorship and about hunting. And the day came when they were to take the little boy, the baby, away. And she held him, kissed him one last time, heartbroken and devastated. And off they went, Bomel and the Grey of Luchra, taking the infant Demna with them. And for three days and 3 nights, they crossed the land, the island of Ireland. A perilous journey it was, until they came to the foot of Bloma, the Slieve Blue Mountains, and they followed that path along the stream, which was a young river barrow. And they came to 3 waterfalls, and in each one they took the water and blessed the infant Demna, knowing that he would be protected by these sacred and magical waters. And then they headed off until they came to their own home at the source of the river Barrow, a well, deep in a secret place, deep within the forest of Bloma, the Slieve Blue Mountains. And even to this day, that source is a secret place. And anyone who's ever tried to find it brought a deluge upon them with blizzard and heavy rain. And it was there that those 2 women, the Bonlech and the Bondri, looked after the young boy. And he was an able student. They taught him the arts of warriorship, of hunting, of herb lore, star lore, the druidic arts. And he grew up to be a fine boy. Six years had gone by, and Morna never forgot her little boy. There wasn't a day that didn't go by that she wondered, was he well? Was he happy? Was he growing up to be a strong boy? Was he safe? But she had to see him one last time. And she set off on a treacherous journey through hostile lands until eventually she came to the foot of Bloma, And she followed that path up along the stream, coming to the 3 waterfalls, where she made offerings and received the blessings of those 3 waterfalls, and continued on up the mountain. But such was her second sight that she knew exactly the location of the place where the 2 women were looking after her son Demna. And it was at night time when she arrived at the bahan, the bothy of the 2 women. And she went into the room where she saw young Demna and saw his golden curls as he lay sleeping on the bed. Oh, her heart filled with joy as she saw him. And she picked him up in her arms and held him and kissed him and sang to him, "Sleep in slumber, sleep." Cuddle a linif, be the one. Cuddle a linif, be the one. Cuddle a gosov, be the one. Cuddle gosov, be the one. Na realty is on pesca, ag fara hara the noch. Ag lan ruan o'r pain. The hin sure is na nyanko, ag fara hara the noch. Ag cor banoch di chor. Cuddle a linif, be the one. Cuddle a linif, be the one. Cuddle gosov, be the one. Cuddle gosov, be the one. And as Myrna held her little boy Demna in her arms, she sang to him and into him all her wisdom and all her knowledge. And yet, although he was a young boy, she knew that that wisdom and knowledge would remain dormant within him until the day came when it would be awakened. She kissed him and held him all night long, and then just before dawn broke, she laid him on the bed again, and once more asked Bomel and the Grey of Lucra to take care of her son. And they promised, indeed they had up to now, and they would continue to love him as if he were their own. And she was heartbroken at having to say goodbye once more to her little boy. The one consolation, the one joy, was the knowledge that she was helping him forge his own destiny. And the years went by, and the little boy grew up to be a young man, learning how to wield a sword, how to read the stars, read the landscape, know about herbs. And one day, he and the 2 women were walking along the slopes of Bloma, and Bomel spotted a herd of fleet deer, and she said, "Oh, alas, wouldn't it be lovely to have some deer for dinner, but it's too far." And he said, "I could get them." And with that, young Demna ran up onto the ridge and came back quickly with 2 young bucks. And they had great venison and a great feast that night. And after that time, he became the hunter for that family. And time went on. The sons of Morna and the enemies of Cool, they were lying in wait, waiting. And if nothing else, they were very, very patient. And the day came when Bomel and the Grey of Lucra called Demna to him and said to them, "Lad, Demna, we have loved you like you're ours. We've taught you all we know. There's nothing more we have to teach you. Just know this, your enemies, the sons of Morna, are waiting to find you. And they're close now to the trail. It is time for you to leave us." You now need to go eastwards to the River Boyne to visit the wise druid there, Finneicus, to learn the bardic arts. It is not until you have the bardic arts mastered can you be a true leader of Na Fianna. So with a broken heart, he said goodbye to the only home he knew and to the only mothers he knew. And yet at the same time, he was excited, setting off on a new adventure, thinking he had the world at his feet. And indeed, in many ways, he did. He was about to set off, forge his own destiny on his own path. And then he went, headed eastwards, towards the River Boyne, and he met Finneicus, which means wise wisdom. Now, for 7 years, Finneicus had lived on the shores of the River Boyne, waiting to fulfill a prophecy. It had been prophesied that Finn, the fair-haired one, would catch the salmon of Fake's pool. And when he did, nothing would remain unknown to him. And it was the salmon at Fake's pool that had fed from the hazelnuts, that had fallen from one of the 9 hazel trees that stood around the well of Shegash. And this well is there today in what's known as Carberry, County Kildare. And that is the source of the River Boyne. And one day, it was Boann, the goddess herself, she who gives her name to the River Boyne. It was she who sent the salmon down the River Boyne so that Finneicus could catch it. Well, you can imagine his joy. At last, his patience having borne out, he was going to fulfill the prophecy. And he called Demna and he said, young lad, please cook this salmon for me, but whatever you do, do not eat any of it. And Demna said, absolutely. He took the salmon and he carefully placed it on a spit and he looked after it. And when it was ready, as he was about to, he placed it on a platter and brought it to Finneicus and said, here is your salmon. But Finneicus knew something. There was something different about Demna. And he said, lad, did you eat any of the salmon? And Demna said, no, and didn't. But when I was taking it off the spit, I noticed a blister on the skin and I put down my thumb to burst it, but it was so hot it burnt me and I put the thumb in my mouth. Ah, that's it. What is your name, lad? He said, you know my name is Demna. No. You are the fair-haired one. From now on, you'll be Finn. You are the Finn that the salmon was destined for. Eat, lad. And so Finn ate of the salmon. And so on from that day to this, and forevermore, that all he had to do, suck his thumb, and through Chenim Legia, all would be revealed to him. And from that salmon, Finn received the 3 gifts that constitute a poet. Chenim Legia, the illumination of song. Imas Farasni, knowledge which illumines. And Diketel Dikener, extempore incantation. He also received a 4th gift, and that was if he ever went to a sacred well, carried the water in his hands, and brought it to anyone who was seriously ill or dying, they would be restored once more. And to demonstrate his bardic talents, Finn composed a lay. May Day, seasons are passing, splendor is colour then. Blackbirds sing a full lay, if there be a slender shaft of day. The dust-coloured cuckoo calls aloud, welcome, splendid summer. The bitterness of bad weather is past, the boughs of the wood are a thicket. Summer cuts the river down, the swift herd of horses seeks the pool. The long hair of heather is outspread in the soft white bog down grown. Panic startles the heart of the deer. The smooth sea runs space, season where ocean sings asleep. Blossom covers the world. Bees with puny strength carry a goodly burden, the harvest of blossoms. Up the mountainside, kine take with them mud. The ant makes a rich meal. The harp of the forest sounds music. The sail gathers perfect peace. Colour has settled on every height, haze on the hill of full waters. The corncrake, a strenuous bard, discourses. The lofty virgin waterfall sings a welcome to the warm pool. The talk of rushes is come. Light swallows dart aloft, loud melody reaches round the hill. The soft, rich mast buds. The stuttering quagmire rehearses. The peat bog is as the raven's coat. The loud cuckoo bids welcome. The speckled fish leaps. Strong is the bound of the swift warrior. Man flourishes. The maiden buds in her fair hair strong pride. Perfect each forest, from top to ground. Perfect each great stately plain. Delightful is the season's splendour. Rough winter has gone. White is every fruitful wood. A joyous peace is summer. A flock of birds settles in the midst of meadows. The greened field rustles wherein is a brawling white stream. A wild longing is on you to race horses. A ranked host is ranged around. A bright shaft has been shot into the land, so that the water flag is gold beneath it. A timorous, tiny, persistent little fellow sings at the top of his voice. The lark sings clear tidings, surpassing May Day of delicate colours. And that story is adapted from The Boyhood Deeds of Finn McCool by Kuno Meyer. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I wish you all a good afternoon, evening, good morning, or as you are later listening to this later. I hope you can join me next week for another Fireside Chat. It'll be a live one. But also in the meantime, we will be having our online Connachtán Ari, our Alban Éilear, our spring equinox ceremony by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. And that will be on this Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time. I look forward to seeing you then. Until the meantime, the blessings of spring, may you sow many seeds until we meet again. Slán go fóill.